Bulger Park, Richie Orrico's 16-inch co-ed softball tournament. We're here at the championship game because of how much the temperatures dropped. The teams have kind of agreed that they're just going to play the one game here. If the Fat Kids win, of course, it'll be over. And if the Fat Kids lose, it'll still be over. And they're doing all kinds of machinations about the money. But so realistically, if the Fat Kids win, they'll win the tournament. If they lose, we are going to be done for the day. They'll both have a loss. And instead of playing a if game, everybody's going to try to get out of here as we're at 8:05 and the temperature's dropped here. So a lot of familiar faces. It's going to be Cliff, PJ, and Anthony Stacy. Again, Hot Stuff versus the Fat Kids. And Hot Stuff really laid it on TTF, who came out of the losers bracket, but TTF looked like they were completely gassed. And they were very sloppy, and they had quite a few errors in that ball game, and as a result, it ended up being a mercy rule game, which we don't see a lot of those in these types of settings. So we'll see if Hot Stuff has got anything left after a big offensive output. So there's a swing, base hit. So Cliff has continued to swing the bat very well all day. Throw behind him, he gets back. Not quite sure why I'm on third base, but I think it's because I'm closer to my car. So here comes the pitcher, PJ. And there's a little soft fly ball, and Scott Gates doesn't get there, but they get the force out. Boy, he spiked the throw, but Juliana saved him there. She reached out. Good reactions. I tell you, she almost looked like a goaltender there. So here's Anthony Stacy now. One on, one out here, top of the first. And Stacy tries to go deep, and Gates goes back, and he makes the catch. Now, there was no warm-up, and it is kind of chilly here. And the Fat Kids ball club was just kind of sitting around for an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes. And so we'll have to see how they react. Amazingly, we're only really an hour behind. It's this first championship game, and there's a nice swing and a little flare over the top there. So Katie gets a hit. So 2 on, 2 out for Eddie Gil Ramos. So we'll see the Fat Kids are loose and ready to play in this ball game. Who's after him? So that pitch is outside, and again, you can't walk a guy here because it would force a run in. And Eddie, a little ground ball, and it sneaks through. And she's going to turn and burn, and she's going to make it. So Hot Stuff here in the top of the first grabs the first lead of the ball game as Eddie just hit a little slow roller, and it found its way through. Here's Melly. So again, and there's a little fly ball, and Gates is going to have to go back, but he'll make the catch. So we're going to head to the bottom of the first, 1-0. And I think if you're the Fat Kids here, you kind of want to come out early because Hot Stuff does have an advantage, even though it's chilly out here. They've been playing straight through. They haven't had any gaps or delays since they lost the winter bracket championship. So you would think they'd be a little more warmed up. And I can tell you right now, Gio is awful cold. So I don't know what the deal was per se, other than this is going to be the only championship game. But I got to tell you, after doing a doubleheader Tuesday, doubleheader Wednesday, a late doubleheader yesterday, and being out here all day, I'm pretty much frozen solid. Scott Gates rifles one, third baseman right on the spot, but the throw pulls Nicole off the bag. And Scott Gates can fly, and you can see the third baseman trying to rush a little bit there, knowing Scott could run. And so here comes Amanda, little flip, and Cliff gets there, and he falls down. Nice play by Cliff. And Amanda's been swinging it pretty good, and Cliff, a great play there. And tell you, Amanda's not a big girl. You see there, brilliant play by Cliff. She's not a physically imposing female, but she's a pretty good little player. And here's Macho, and he goes the opposite way. Gates is flying. Let's see if they try to send him. Now they are going to send him. Throw to the plate, not in time. Gets away. Macho's going to go to second. So we're all tied up. They hesitated sending Gates, but he took a look. Anthony Stacy fumbled the throw a little bit, and that allowed him to come all the way around. So here's Juliana. We're all tied up here, 1-1 in the one. And Macho just enough to get in the way there, as Greg had to deal with Macho running past him, created enough of a distraction that let Juliana get on, and it brings up Chuck Regaldo. And Chuck looked like his front foot slipped out on him, and he caught a break there as neither Nicole nor the second baseman could get out there. Again, the only saving grace is we don't have much of a wind. Might be a couple of miles an hour, if that. Otherwise, it would really be unbearable. Pickoff attempt, not even close. And Chuck scalds one, and Brandon can't get there. Not a ball, deflects. One run is in. Juliana gets over to third, and now it's second and third. Another run did score there. Chuck Regaldo slashed a wicked sinking line drive. Brings up Lexi. 2-1 Fat Kids now here in the bottom of the first. And there she pushes one, long run, and the ball drops fair right on the chalk. Chuck is now he's gonna go, and he's gonna be out. You know, he hesitated originally to wait to see where the throw is, but I think once the catcher secured the throw, it was a little off target, but she was standing right next to the base. If you're Chuck, you gotta shut that down and come back to third there. And there's a swing by Chulo, and that's a perfect example. I think had Chuck not been quite as aggressive. And again, I think you got to understand, you got Chulo coming up, and that would have been a great opportunity, and they would have been sitting on a 4 spot right now. And that's going to bring up Isabel. And there's a little roller to third, comes up throwing in time. And that'll be the third out. But in the bottom of the first, Fat Kids put up a crooked number, and they take the lead 3-1. And we're going to head to the second inning here on a now chilly night here in Melrose Park. Again, we'd like to thank a couple of our sponsors. Sweet Buzz, one of our anchor sponsors for the Chicago Summer Series, and they're going to be taking a little bigger role with us this year. Infused products, if you're an adult and you happen to use them, check them out, and also find some time to talk to Nick Drabel from Moneyline, who is one of the founders of the company, and of course some of our other premier partners who have been with us for a long, long time. Let Us Entertain You and Rich Melman, great restaurants. Vito's Handmade Vodka, Please Drink Responsibly, and of course Ray Zarnick and the Zarnick family sponsor the Class A No Glove National Championship, named after Tom Egg Zarnick, Ray's brother. And if you need a car, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or really any type of vehicle, reach out to Ray. He'll help you. So Brandon grounds out. It brings up Nicole here. And Nicole, a little pop-up, Juliana calls it off, puts that away, and it's going to bring up the shortstop, Greg. I'm surprised Greg is still walking. He hit a home run in the TTF game right before this, and he appeared to have pulled a hamstring and was really kind of hopping around the bases. And it looked like he was going to be done for the day. And Chuck Regaldo makes the catch, so 3 up, 3 down. And they got the roller out right away, and they were working on that hamstring. And I think Greg's going to be very sore tomorrow. So it looked like a hamstring because he reached down, but it might have just been a cramp. Had it been a hamstring, I don't think he'd be standing around like he is right now. So it's going to be Luke. You know what? I was calling her Aliniana. I think this is Ariana. So somebody else must have wrote the lineup card for Hot Stuff. So if I'm mispronouncing or misnaming her, I apologize. I'm only as good as the people writing the lineup card. And then it'll be Scotty, the third hitter. Bottom of the second here, Fat Kids. That pitch is inside, never cleared.
Here we go. Here we go.
And there's a strike, full count. And he walks Luke, so Luke will go to second.
Here we go. Here we go.
And, of course, Ariana will be able to go directly to first. And brings up Scott Gates. So Fat Kid's in a good position here to maybe push this lead out. And that ball just clips the plate, so home plate jumping around. Scott swings, almost hit Gates, and they're going to get the lead runner there. Or I should say almost hit Luke. And, of course, Luke was in a position where he was being forced to have to leave the base on that ground ball. So by having to wait and jump, there was no chance to get to third. And that's going to bring up Amanda. So, and Amanda tries to pull, long run, sliding catch there by Eddie Gil Ramos for out number 2. So this inning now, it's up to Macho to try to get him some kind of a run here. So again, the big hitter here in the inning was really Gates. And Macho, little ground ball, nice backhanded play, and they get the fielder's choice. Nicely done there by the second baseman. Huge play to keep this a 2-run ball game. I'll show you the replay. You can see nifty backhand play, and they get the fielder's choice and the third out. So we're gonna head to the top of the third. Fat Kids there had a golden opportunity to push out, couldn't do it. And we head to the top of the third.
Let's go defense. Come on.
So it's going to be Sin in the top of the lineup, Cliff and PJ. And right now this game is, and there's a little fly ball. Gates is at a busy beginning to the game, and we still got some diehards out here in the cold over here. And I don't know what contraption that is, but it looks warm. And there are still some stragglers out in deep left field by the street. Here's Cliff hanging out there. I think TTF was hanging out there earlier, so they might still be out there, but park is really starting to thin out now. A few people over by the bocce courts. And it's been a long day. This tournament started at 9 a.m. and there's a swing opposite, and Chuck Regaldo right on the spot makes the catch, robbing Cliff of a potential hit. And here comes PJ. PJ infield pop-up handled by Chulo. So we're going to head now to the bottom of the third. Fat Kids lead 3-1. So again, 11, 3, 5. This is our fourth game of the day that we've live streamed. And, of course, we also had a 1 hour long interview today. Jerry Brown, who joins me on a lot of our broadcast shows during the summer for the Chicago Summer Series, when we preview and do post-tournament autopsies. And Jerry felt like he wanted to do something different. He wanted to do an interview, so I did not know the questions going in. I hope you guys enjoyed it, although I may have just been flapping my gums for an hour. But I enjoyed doing it and enjoy having Jerry be a part of our team here at the SSA. So Juliana, Chucky, and Lexi, the scheduled hitters here, and she took a good hack at it but popped it up. And that'll bring up Chuck. And I think if you're the Fat Kids here, you don't want to fall asleep. Hot Stuff has been amazingly resilient. And Chuck just whistled that into right field. And I tell you, Chuck's been a fabulous defensive outfielder since the first day I laid my eyes on him. And I think the only thing from really turning him into an elite player is just a little more consistency with the bat. And so good job there. Lexi does move him into scoring position now for Chulo. And they got to respect Chulo. He's got a little pop. Although I got to tell you, Ramos and the center fielder are really not playing Chulo very deep, and we have seen Chulo lean on some balls on occasion. Brandon in left is playing him a healthy distance. Ramos has creeped back a little bit. And there's a rocket, and that's going to get through. Another run for the Fat Kids. And Cliff kind of threw a hand grenade in. And this is the first, for a lot of people, this is really the first time they've been outside. And for some of these co-ed teams, they play the mush ball, which is a lot different than throwing, this is Isabel, it's a lot different than throwing a 16-inch. 16-inch weighs more. And now she hits a little ground ball, little bobble. Isabel is grinding, and now they got Chulo hung up. And Chulo is just trying to buy time, and he's out. So a couple of base running gaffes in this ball game by the Fat Kids. has potentially cost them the ability to maybe push out and have a couple more runs. Not saying they would have necessarily ended up getting a run, but that's a good example. You got Luke Lowry coming up next, and you would have had first and second with 2 outs. And of course, Chuck made a base running mistake as well earlier in the ball game, and had he not gone, they would have for sure had a 5th run. So it's going to be Anthony Stacy, Katie, and Eddie Gil Ramos. So we're in the 4th, 4-1. Fat Kids. And Anthony looks good. He looks like he may have shed a couple of pounds. And this kid always could rake. And now he goes opposite field. And it's actually, I believe, his birthday. I think Joe Polito told me that today. He's turned 30 today. I know one thing. When I turned 30, man, I had a big party at the house. I wasn't out playing softball, but of course, my birthday's January 28th. But I wouldn't have been playing softball, I tell you that, at 30. So God bless him. So here's Katie. Whoa. Couldn't get there. I looked up and I was about to drop the camera. I was going to catch it and realized I'm not playing anymore. And then I had to try to get out of the way. I hope I didn't get in the way. Again, I'm so frozen solid, I can't move. And now that ball somehow snuck into the outfield, and Chuck throws it home. 2nd and 3rd. And you know, in that TTF game, what killed TTF is on several women hit the ball into the outfield, and there were all kinds of crazy things going on. So here's Eddie Gil Ramos. First 2 hitters have reached here. And Eddie spanks one in front of Gates. 1 run is in. And it's now a 4-2 ball game. Uh-oh. More trouble. Remember her from the Dome. 4-2, Fat Kids. So we're back here to live action. And there's a little poke the other way. Giuliano to Macho. And they spin the double play to get out of the inning. And, oh, I'm sorry, that was only 2 outs. But another run does score to make it 4-3. But I think if you're the Fat Kids, you'll take that. You'll take that in order to kind of stop the bleeding and not have a bigger inning. Here's Jose Godinez. So Jose swings and Macho got a hand on it, and that was a rocket. So Soto trying to throw behind the runner brings up Nicole. So Godinez hit for Brandon, the left fielder. And here's Nicole, a little roller. Juliana, and can't make the play at first. And I tell you, that ball wasn't hit that hard. Very deliberate. Throw would have beat her, but the first baseman, it looked like it hit right in the palm and popped out. And here's Greg. So this inning is turning into a little bit of a nightmare for the Fat Kids. Again, they've had a couple of base running gaffes. That's prevented them from scoring a couple of more runs here. And, not sure what's going on here. I think he was talking about maybe hitting for Greg here. Now, the problem is I think Godinez hit for Brandon. And Godinez was the guy that was swinging for Greg. And Greg launches one into the alley. So they were talking about hitting. 1 run is in. 2 runs are in. Here comes Greg. And he's going to stop at third. And you can see he's bothered by the leg. 2-run bomb into the gap.
We take that. You what, devil? Boy, that was crazy.
So 5-4 now. 4-run inning. Here comes Sin.
Hey, he hasn't been in a ship before.
And here comes Sin.
Hey, we whooped y'all ass before. Don't act like it. Shit, many times than y'all.
And little fly ball, and Gates will get there to end the inning. So that was a perfect example there of things just going bad. So anyways, we're going to go halfway through now. New leader, Hot Stuff, has kind of come back here. They've taken the lead, and now the Fat Kids find themselves trailing for the second time in the ball game by a run. And that was just a tough inning all the way around. So it's going to be Luke, Ariana, and Scotty. So it's going to be 10-11-1. So we're only halfway through here. So a lot of ball game left. And Luke got way under that, and Brandon, circling the wagons, makes the catch for out number 1. So here comes Ariana. She must have family or friends here, because somebody brought her what looked to be like a hot Starbucks coffee. And she swings through that. Yeah, sorry, folks. It's starting to wear down here a little. And there's a little ground ball to Greg. He bobbles it, throws across in time, and that'll be out number 2, and it brings up Gates. So the Fat Kids were cruising along there.
Nice job. Nice job.
Until the last half inning. And Scotty hits a little spinner, and that's going to roll foul. And he had 2 strikes, so that'll be a strikeout. And we're going to go to the top of the 5th. So again, the Fat Kids are down. And I think sometimes, I'm always fascinated, but, sometimes teams will fall behind, come off a rough inning, and you'll see like their body language changes. But realistically, the Fat Kids have been swinging the bats well most of the day. So all you really got to do is just kind of refocus and just keep doing what you're doing. Nobody thinks they're going to come and shut a team out. So you can't really worry if the other guy gets a run or 2. You just got to keep doing your thing. So top of the lineup, Cliff, PJ, and Ant coming up here for Hot Stuff. And Cliff goes opposite, and Gates can't get to it. It'll be a lead-off single for Cliff. And I tell you, Cliffs are pretty good. And now I don't know what's happening here. The ball came into Macho. I don't know. It seemed like they were playing around with it. And to be honest with you, he was looking to flip it to Juliana, but the runner had stopped. You might as well just walk that to the pitcher. So here's PJ. And there's a little flip, and first baseman, and that's a fair ball. And now Cliff is going to score. And right now, a little situational awareness is escaping the Fat Kids as they're shooting themselves in the foot here. That was just a little play there. First baseman hit her glove in fair territory. Cliff took advantage and just kept running. Here's Anthony Stacy, 6-4 here. And Anthony launches one. Luke Lowry can't get it. Sin, the pinch runner's going to score. Stacy chugging to third, and they're going to hold him. So when it rains, it pours. And that's going to bring up Katie. So 4-run inning last inning. A couple of runs in here, and there's a little end of the bat, and Gates makes a running catch. And umpire's already saying that it was good that he stayed there. So Scott Gates made a spectacular catch. Stacy did not leave early, according to the umpire. They pick up another run. They've now doubled up the Fat Kids at 8-4 here in the top of the fifth. And here's Eddie Gil Ramos now with the bases cleared, and that ball is out of play. So if the Fat Kids want to win this ball game, they're going to have to start to swing the bats here a little bit, and they're going to certainly have to start playing a little tighter defense. And there's a line drive off the mitt of Juliana, and it gets in the center. So no doubt about it, Hot Stuff free swinging it right now. So here comes Melly as they're going to get a courtesy. So here's Melly, and there's a fly ball, and Gates will catch that, and he's going to throw back, and they get the double play. Holy mackerel. See if we got the replay on that. Scott Gates throwing behind the runner. And, yeah, I think they did get him. Hard to see because the first baseman's body was in the way. 8-4, Hot Stuff. So we head to the bottom of the fifth. And we will see if the Fat Kids get any kind of juice or jump out of that. It's going to be Amanda, Macho, and Juliana. Anybody gets on, Chucky. So we're in the bottom of the fifth. Game getting a little late here for the Fat Kids. And Amanda hits a line drive right at Stacy for out number one. So Amanda's been, like I said earlier, swinging it pretty good. It's going to bring up Macho. And Macho goes the other way, little soft fly ball, and Brandon on one knee makes the catch. So the fat kids right now, really flat. And they've been that way ever since they gave up the 4 spot and fell behind 5-4. And Hot Stuff has just continued to roll. So Juliana, high pop-up, and there's Brandon. And they go 1, 2, 3. We're going to head to the 6th. Hot Stuff in control right now. So it's going to be Brandon, Nicole, and Greg. And after the last couple of innings have been a little rough on the fat kids, they really need a goose egg and try to get their bearings back. Again, crowd thinning out as we go inning by inning, and with the score being as is, some more fans kind of matriculating out. But pretty good crowd most of the day today. And Brandon, wicked, he hits it into an alley. And Brandon can run. This is going to be a solo homer. He's already in the Cadillac trot as he just hit a hard line drive, short grass, and that ball just rolled deep into left center field. 9-4.
Hating on me. I'm off. They're hating on me.
So here's Nicole. And there's a ground ball to Amanda. She makes the play for out number 1. Here comes Greg with Sin on deck. So we are in the top of the 6th. And again, both teams agreed that there was only going to be this one game played, and if they were both 1-1, that they were going to do something with the money. And Gates can't make the catch, and that was a fair ball. And Greg bouncing off of players. He's safe there, and that's the right call. Let's see if I got it on the replay. He was running to second base, and there was contact with Amanda. And as a result, let's see if we got it. You'll see it right there. I think you just saw it. He bumped her. The umpire did the right thing. He put his arm out. And even though they tagged Greg, even though they tagged him out, umpire called him safe. That's what you call a delayed dead ball call. The umpire has the option when he sees that and Sin hits a fly ball, Luke is going to put that away. So yeah, I guess you could call it a double. It wasn't the prettiest slide, Mike, but he did get in there. But again, once you're running and you have contact with a fielder like that, if the umpire believes that they interfered with the batter, now runner, and that is going to score another run, and Cliff is going to keep coming, and he's going to end up at third. So another run is in. Now 10-4. So the umpire, if you're ever at a game and that interference type situation, will put his hand out to the side, straight out. And if you're ever running and you glance at an umpire and you see that, go to the next base. Yes, this is a championship game. And there's a little ground ball, and that's the third out. Everybody's kind of a little slow there. Looks like somebody's injured there on hot stuff. Could be the pitcher, PJ. So we head to the bottom of the sixth. It's now 10-4. This is the championship game, Papa, but the problem here is that it's gotten pretty much on the cold side here, and the teams agreed that this was going to be the only championship game, and if the Fat Kids won, that would be the end of it. That it would be, they would get an extra 100, I think they said, out of the total prize money. And if the Fat Kids lost, then I think they're going to split the money in some fashion. I didn't get all the details of it. So Chuck Regaldo going to lead off here, then Lexi and Chulo. So this game's taking a turn here, and there's a little ground ball. Anthony Stacy makes the play across the infield, and that's the first out of the inning here. And right now the
It's his birthday, be nice.
So a little trash talking going on, and it's unfortunate. And so Lexi in the box as we're going to get back to playing softball here. And there's a little soft pop-up, and Greg goes back and makes the catch. And it's funny because Hot Stuff, they tend to hit for Greg a lot, but it just seems like every time I watch this team, the kid does nothing but pound the ball at the bottom of the lineup. So here's Chulo. And he takes a strike there. So 2 outs, nobody on here, bottom of the sixth. And there's a line drive off the pitcher right to the second baseman. The shovel in time. Nicely done. So ball was hit hard off the pitcher, deflected right to the second baseman. And a real nice job of just shoveling it right out of the glove directly to the first baseman, and they get the play. So nicely done there as we're going to head to the top of the seventh.
You want to go about fielding and go about speed. Do their thing. This shit was dealt with already. Okay, guess what? If you would have fucked it up,
so we head to the top of the seventh here. Hot Stuff in control of this ball game at 10-4. Leading off, it's going to be Anthony Stacy. I see Brandon going into the field. I haven't really seen him play much, as Macho Soto has come out of the game. And here comes Anthony Stacy. And Stacy, he gets a base hit into center. So Anthony been swinging the bat. So Anthony Stacy with a base hit. He stays hot. brings up Katie. Again, 10-4 here. And ever since that 4-run inning when Hot Stuff took the lead, they haven't really looked back. They just have been relentless. Gates makes the catch. So that's going to bring up Ramos with Melly on deck. And Ramos flips the other way. Luke makes the catch. He throws to first, and the first baseman couldn't handle the throw there. So Stacy caught a break there, because had Ariana caught that ball, I think he would have been out. And there's a little fly ball, and Gates handles that, and that'll be the third out. Do or die, bottom of the seventh. For the Fat Kids, they need 6 to tie, 7 to win.
There's not. We're talking about running. So how can you give me lessons when I don't even feel like it?
So here we go. We'll see who's going to come up for the Fat Kids here. And I want to say it's going to be Luke, Ariana, and then the top of the lineup, Scotty. And
because he's talking about it. That's right.
What inning is this?
so I take it back. It's Isabella, then Luke. So Fat Kids got a lot of work to do. They really need to start stacking base runners. And there's a little roller. And Greg, she's not even running. That'll be out number 1. And that brings up Luke.
We didn't know.
Thank you.
My arm? I
And Luke swings, hard ground ball, and that does get past Greg. So there's 1 base runner. Still need a whole lot. Well, Popcorn, it's gotten very chilly here. And they worked out a deal where they were going to play the first game, and depending on what happened, the money was going to change, and I believe that there won't be an if game, as this looks like right now that Hot Stuff is going to win this. So so 1 out, Scott Gates up. Again, you're down 6. You got 2 base runners. You got to keep this safe streak going. There's a ground ball. Greg goes the short way to Stacy. They get the fielder's choice. He did not attempt to turn the double play there.
That's why I can't wait. I was like, you and we love each other. I can't wait till women's.
And here comes Amanda.
Here we go, babe.
And there's a ground ball back to the pitcher, and that'll do it. So Hot Stuff does win this particular ball game, and that's going to do it for our broadcasting out here. Like I said, the teams had an agreement, and again, it's a long day for everybody involved. So we want to thank Richie Orrico for having us out here, and I'm going to try to get pictures of both teams. Hey, can I get a picture of both teams at home plate? So we're